Well, we have got a question today, Mr. Miro. Listen to this. When I sit down to draw, it's awful, but I love doodling. How can I just doodle to get me into drawing? Well, today's video is all about doodling, doodling, doodling. So let's do some doodling. So, doodling. How does doodling improve your ability to draw? How does doodling help you in any way? Isn't it just a waste of time? Is doodling a waste of time? Or is it a way of exercising your mind to explore possibilities? Well, for me, doodling is one of the greatest parts of having any type of fun with your pen, with any type of ink or color or anything. Just doodle. Just start to draw something. It's not important. Just start off with a circle. Start off with a circle and just type of, maybe just add, just whatever your brain comes up with. And we're just gonna doodle another circle. We're just going to think, well, that could be like a nose, couldn't it? And you could just add it's a nose. Okay, so it's let's do another circle there. It could be an eye. And you're just doodling. It's not important. But it is important. It's not important on the final product. But what it's important about is getting everything excited, getting everything moving in your body, in your mind, in your fingers, and drawing and feeling something. Maybe I'll put some lips on there. Maybe that's his big fat cheek, that. Maybe I'll draw his ear over here. Doodle, 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 doodle. And what happens is you start to get this very relaxed feeling. Let me just plug my camera in on my microphone. And what it does is it kind of loosens up your mind. It loosens up this thing of saying, well, there's his shoulder. That's his big fat chin. Maybe that's his big fat neck. Maybe this is, well, let's just do some shading. And it's not important in a way that this is the picture that you're going to frame and give to your grandmother. But what it does is it makes you feel you can do things. So doodling, yes, doodling is extremely important. And doodling is what most of these people do on their real people do in their sketchbooks. You know, it's not like a sketchbook that you pick up and you kind of go, well, this is my sketchbook. Oh, this is the Da Vinci, the one that I did earlier, blah, 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 blah. That's not a sketchbook. A sketchbook is exploring your mind, being a 4-year-old kid again, getting that pen and drawing pictures. That's what a sketchbook is. You look at my sketchbooks are dreadful. Look, what have I got here? This is an old scribble pad. Like, look at some of mine, look. It's me writing down things, scribbling down ideas, scribbling down thoughts. There's a character that I did. And coming up with little comic ideas, writing down titles, writing down words that excite me. Just drawing things. I don't know if you can even see any of that, but it doesn't matter. It's just like drawing down words. Illegal nuts, what does that mean? But maybe later on it means something. All these little sketches for comics that I did. That was the Little China comic. And I went through and just sketched out funny ideas. Wouldn't it be great if this big bird walked past him and he's asleep on there? And this big bird walked past and he became the king of the birds. And why? One day I was flicking through my sketchbook and I was like, wow, that's funny. Hey, maybe it's like the king of the birds and that he's helping the king of the... Yeah. And it adds to the story. All these things you find. There's the king of the birds there. He comes back later on in my sketchbook. And these were just ideas that I had. And all this doodling came to a point. There's an alien that comes down to find out if he's got any cheese. What? It's madness, right? But when I looked through the sketchbook, all these little ideas that I had was like the best friend you could ever have. It's the best friend because you're having thoughts and thinking, and then you're opening a page to old memories, old thoughts, old words that you've written down. And all of a sudden, all these things come flooding out. And you think, thank you, friend, for this idea. And that idea and your idea can come out to be a very, very, very beautiful thing. So there's a whole comic book based on words. I would go around and write down words. Spiders in my brain. What does that mean? But then it might come up to be the title for your book. Little China has spiders in his brain. Like shooting fish in a barrel. Like shooting fish in a barrel was a phrase in some TV show. And that became one of the main expressions that the goose says. He's always saying, hey, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. And I was like, what I saw in this TV show. And I thought, what a really cool phrase of like you're easy to joke, you're easy to prank, you're easy to fool around with. And that's where it all comes down to. Doodling. And that's the beauty of doodling. That's what today's about. Doodle. Draw anything. Start off with some circles. And just let your pen explore things. Start with doodling, with shapes. And that's really, really where this helps you. Doodling is a way of saying, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to draw that shape. And then I'm going to draw that shape. And then, well, what have I done here? And you're just sitting there and you're thinking, well, that's kind of like funny because that could be like some kind of alien's nose. And he's sucking up all these things around the land. And he's got this big kind of sucker on the end of his face. And you think, well, that's kind of funny. And at this point, you're doodling. You're having fun. Right, well, I'll just fill that in. What does this alien's face look like that we're working on? Well, let's give him one big eye. And let's give him one little eye. That's funny. Does he have any ears? Well, I don't know. Let's just have fun. And it's like being 4 years old again. And you think, well, let's give him some like big dog ears. That'd be kind of funny, wouldn't it? If he was an alien, that had these big dog ears and a big trumpet for a nose. And he goes around the country just sucking up things into his nose that he gonna kind of investigate and study more later on. And you think, well, that's a really cool idea. I like that. So maybe we'll give him like a kind of Mickey Mouse type of hat. Like that kind of old black and white thing they used to have, like this type of big V thing there. Wouldn't that be cool? Do you see how we're sketching, we're doodling? And we're playing along with these thoughts that we've been debating and we've been talking about in my earlier videos, all about circles, sausages, S's, C's, I's, and putting all these processes together. And we've got a big C there, and we've got a straight there, and we've got another C there. We've got another circle for his eye, and we're going to give him a long neck. And as you're doing this in your sketchbook, you can just get some loose paint, some loose kind of and you could kind of just shade it in and get some fun with it and think, well, that would be nice if he was like this and like that. And maybe on the man's face you put a shadow under his hair and a shadow down his nose. And this is just grey rubbish paint. And you're kind of building up this thing. Add some water to it, loosen it down. And all of a sudden this little sketch becomes an interesting picture. You think, well, I kind of like that. This kind of big, fat, chubby kind of face to this man. And you start to think, well, maybe I should draw the rest of his hair. Maybe I should give him a big kind of like Boris Johnson type of hair. Boris Johnson, well, yeah, maybe that's, maybe, you know. And you're just loosening up your mind. And these sketchbooks and these notebooks and these whatever you're kind of working on are all just fun. They're not important. They're just you exploring your mind, exercising your mind. Well, maybe he's looking down. Let's draw a body on him. What kind of body would an alien have with a trumpet on his nose? Let's give him a really big body, like a big kind of. Let's just finish off his neck. Let's give him a big collar, like a big kind of spaceman's collar. And we're just drawing with a biro, just a simple biro. And we're just exploring our mind. We're just doodling. So if you imagine this in your sketchbook and you think, well, I want him to have really big shoulders. And I want him to have quite a big kind of similar shape to that for his body. Well, that's a great idea, yeah. Maybe we can give him like a big space jacket, you know, like he's got big weird kind of buttons on his jacket. And this is what's beautiful about doodling. So yes, doodling is very important. In my life, doodling is 24 hours a day. You know, I sit and watch TV and I have a little sketch pad and I'm just sitting there drawing a rabbit, and then I see something funny on TV and I think, oh, that man's face is funny, and I start drawing that man's face. And so my books might not be, my sketchbooks might not be like very kind of like show off. They might not be. What other books have I got here? What other sketchbooks? Sketchbooks here. There's another sketchbook. This is a different book. This is a different characters. There you go. Look, all these kind of sketching ideas that I've come up with. These are like these blood creatures that come in, and all the pictures stuck together. And there's some more ideas of all these different characters. A couple of pages there I didn't do anything in. There's loads of writing in it, or I wrote most of the story on it. Start drawing this. Look at this weird thing down here, look. And it says something like, while white dust on your skull, dust on the ages of ancestors. The skull is from the past and doesn't belong to you. Like, what does that mean? But that's what's coming out here. Look at this up here. This was a drawing that I did in my book. So if you go through my books, you'll find that illustration all drawn up. And I was just like this funny thing of him kind of standing there and maybe thinking, oh my God, someone's watching me. And he turns around, there's this strange creature looking around a tree. And I thought that would be so funny. And that's what we did. You know, went through and did some of these drawings on here. And it's just all madness, you know. Like here's some kind of weird kind of girlfriend thing. That it was like, there's a man there who's got, you know, it was just great fun. So doodling is massively important. Another page here. This was a main character that came up in one of my stories. Why? He'd met all these kind of Zulu weird kind of things in the jungle. And it just is such an important part of loosening your mind. So this robot, we don't even have a story for him. We're just kind of thinking, well, wouldn't it be cool to have these kind of big, kind of like robot arms on him, and he's like half robot, you know? Why is he half robot? I don't know, but let's just take a bit of that grey paint in there and kind of just have a bit of fun with it. And it's all just fun. It's just being 4 years old again, being a child again, you know? How much fun did you have as a child drawing and doodling? Drawing and doodling that you just thought was just like, it was nothing, right? It's not important as all your parents probably told you. But it's so important. It's so important for your soul. If I didn't draw every day, you know, just release all the things in my mind onto a piece of paper, I think I'd just explode, you know. One day I'd just be walking along the street and I'd just go, pieces of me all over the place. But by doing this and just releasing, what kind of hands does he? What kind of arms could we have? You know? And you're just thinking, well, maybe he's got big long kind of springy arms, you know? And you just think, well, that's a great idea. Let's do that. So it's like a big kind of garden hose type of thing. Well, that's brilliant. We could do like loads of like stretchy marks in there, like a big garden hose that has, you know? You're darkening things in, you're sketching things in. You want to do some little shading on it, do some little shading on it. It's a great way to explore things like shading. What is shading? If I draw something, how do I shade it? Do I just do like little lines like this? Does that look nice? Do I need to do like cross-hatching? Would that be better? Oh, it looks quite... Cross-hatching seems to make it look darker. And all these things you're learning, and you're learning in a very fun way. And that's such a beautiful way. Look at the way the texture on that has come through. So his hands. Well, let's give him some kind of like a big claw. Like a big kind of D-shaped claw. Like that. Like a big kind of clamp. And these are all thoughts. And you look at the way I've drawn this in like almost like in a 3D way. He's got this big kind of claw, like kung, 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 like this. And you can go in and you think, well, that's really, really cool. I mean, how would I shade something like that? Well, maybe we put the shade on the inside. Maybe make it darker on the inside. And these are all like little things that you're just having fun with. You know, that kind of being a young boy, being a young girl, having fun. How beautiful is that? And all these little bits of fun become amazing teaching blocks, learning blocks for you to get better at something. And all these little explorings of like shading. Well, maybe I'll put the shading down there on that side. Okay, that's quite dark. Oh. Or maybe I'll add some more dark to the body. You see how this is, your mind is working, your mind is relaxing. I like that. I like the way that's got a nice kind of big dark, almost makes like the body look metallic the way it's got a shine to it. So, please, whoever sent me that comment, I think it was Lisa, and everybody else who's watching, have fun with your sketches. You're doodling. Your doodling is one of the most important things. Okay, well that's his body, right? Well, what about this other arm? Well, I don't know. What could we do? We could do it as a short hook. It's still on like a hose. Do it with another kind of big end to it, and it's got this big hook, like a big knife on the other end. You know, this is all just madness. So what is down here? Well, maybe it's a horse. What does a horse look like? It could be a goat. What does a goat look like? It could be whatever. And this does not matter about which pen you're using, and even to the point of color. There's some color. It's just one of those things. Get your little spray bottle of water and just spray it. And that gets a little bit of wetness into it. Just soaks into it. And then you can go in and you can say, well, maybe he's got a green body. Well, let's get some green. Let's just paint it up. Let's get this character. And you can start to have some fun with it. And it's just fun. It's just painting. And the painting in your sketchbook and doodling with colour. Oh, Mr. Muir is excited by his hedgehog. And you're doodling with colour. Also gives you all these lessons about how to... What have you seen, Mr. Miro? These give you lessons on how to paint.
What kind of techniques do you do? Is that brush too small to paint? Well, let's get this big brush. Look at this one. Right, let's try that. Is that any better? Oh, look at that. Oh, that's much better. I can paint that so much quicker. Right, lessons. And you see how you're shading underneath here along all the buttons and things like that. Isn't that so much cool? Doesn't that look fantastic? So you want to get in there and do some orange on his face. Okay, well, let's give him an orange face. Wouldn't that be fun? And that's the word that you're using more and more here. Fun. Is it fun? Is your doodling fun? Is your drawing fun? If it's not, you're getting too serious. You know, you're picking up these books of how to draw and things like that. And what it's actually doing is it's teaching you to be so serious about it that you're losing the fun. You know? And that's really, really, really important. Having fun with your drawings is everything. So, where's my biro? Right, so what are we going to draw? We're going to draw something else. We'll just draw some kind of cat. Let's just draw a cat. That's just for fun. Let's draw a nice cat. Let's give him a big nose. Let's give him a nice kind of cat kind of lip to him. And we'll get under that, we'll do his big eyes. And that's his kind of cheekbones there, where he's got a big smile that's coming up. And that's his mouth coming up to that. Let's give him a highlight on his nose. We're just doodling here. We're just playing around. And it doesn't have to be so kind of detailed like this. It could just be scribbles. Seeing a man over there and you're just kind of like sitting there drawing, well, that's kind of like what his head is, and that's kind of like shading of his nose, and that's kind of like where his mouth is there, and he's standing there and he's got an umbrella, and the umbrella is kind of like something like that, and just doodle it, just draw it how you feel. Most important thing about your drawing is not about how damn good it looks at the end. You think I'm going to show this to my grandmother and frame it for her? No. But all the things I've learned from this already, learning about how to add shading to a face, how to come up with some crazy creature, how to draw some man with his umbrella. What does an umbrella look like? Well, it's got these kind of undersides like this, and then, you know, it's just about feeling it and having fun with it. And drawing your cat. What about kind of cat? Do I want a kind of like a nice cute cat? I want a nice sleepy cat? Do I want... And just drawing it and having fun with it. So doodling is everything. Doodling is about exploring and learning all those stages, all those things that you're learning about your shading. Let's do some shading on this while we're doing it. And draw his eyes on there. And you're learning about your shapes. Give him some eyebrows, some nice big thick eyebrows like that. Let's give him some wrinkles behind. Cool. And a mouth, right? Well, let's bring him up to a big, nice big smile, and we're going to bring a nice kind of big mouth down there. Look at that. Nice big open mouth. Do we want some teeth in there? Yeah, well, let's give him some kind of cute cat teeth. And let's put his tongue in there. That's really cool. So you're starting to shade it, right? Let's do some shading in the mouth. And what you're doing is here is you're just in this sketchbook, in this loose piece of paper. These are loose pieces of paper that are just sitting around. And I'm just sketching in the mouth. Does it look nice? And all the way that you're doing these sketches and these doodles, as they want to be called, doodling, it's incredible. It's incredible how much you learn from just doing this. Already from this, I've learned that crosshatch and shading. If I do that and I do that, it already seems to look darker. Do you see? So this is a darker way of using your shading. So you could basically do something that's, if I wanted to do some shading like that, nice and, but then at this part I wanted to do it a little bit darker towards this part. You know, at this end I want to make it feel like it's getting into a darker area. Then by doing my cross hatching, kind of makes a feeling that's almost like a gradient. And that's just exploring these things. And drawing your cat. So we're drawing our cat. We wanted him a big chin like that. Look at that. That looks fabulous, doesn't it? So at this point here, we've got our head construction. And we've got our circular ball. And we've got our eyes. And we've got our nose. That's what we've got there. So our ears are going to be somewhere about here. Okay? So we're going to put our ears on there. Nice little dumpy cat ears. Like that. Do you see the way this is slowly falling apart? Falling into place here. And this is just a sketch. But now I've kind of learned that I like these big thick eyebrows. Maybe in my next drawing I will do that. Maybe this construction of the nose is quite nice. What am I doing here with the hair? Am I going to give him some nice hair? Bring him down into being a very kind of fat-bellied cat. I mean, how lovely is that? And again, it's an idea. It's kind of like in your notebook, in your doodling, you're going to put in some sketching, in some shading, just to kind of give this feeling of this cat being a little bit more kind of 3D-ish. Okay, in the ear I want it to be a little bit darker, so let's do our cross-hatching feel here. That will darken up the feeling inside the ear. That works nice. And a little bit of cross-hatching action there, just to kind of give it that feeling. A little bit more there. And already we're starting to give this character quite a remarkable type of 3D feeling almost to him. Now we could go on there and we could draw his body, and we could draw his shoulders there, and we could, you know, we could go on and draw the whole thing. Maybe at this point you start to think, well, maybe I want to have a jacket on him. Okay. Scribble it. Don't be afraid to scribble. Don't be afraid to just do whatever you want. I want some dark behind him. There, scribble it all in. It's in a notebook. It's a thought. It's a practice. And you think, well, how does a waistcoat look? Well, if his body, if the head is kind of like that, then the body is going to be like that. So the body is going to be. You see how that's come round, and then this has come round. So I'm going to bring that all the way down to the middle. So this waistcoat type thing that I've got coming on here, and then I'm going to bring it a little bit past that because I want the buttons to be right down the center of his body. And then we've got a lovely type of feeling of like a well-to-do kind of cat. I mean, this is great. And what we're doing then is we're going straight back in, and we're going to start putting in some shading, like what we did over there. And we're just putting on blah 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 blah, whatever we want. We're just going to kind of go in, and we're going to touch in some things, maybe a little bit darker down there, maybe a little bit darker in there. Put some darkness in the mouth. And this is all doodling. This is nothing here is important. Nothing at all. But it's giving us a great exercise, a great strength. It's giving us that feeling that if I can do this on a little doodle, if I can do this on a little scribble in my book, I could do it on an illustration. I could do it again. Could I draw that cat again? Oh my God, I don't know. I like it, but well, I don't know. Can I do it? Well, what kind of jacket would he have? Would he have like a nice big green coat? Well, that's kind of nice, isn't it? Oh, yeah. So let's put some green on there. And maybe I can get the cat. I can put some colour on the cat. Okay, so in my illustration later on that I'm going to do with this cat, could I do some... Maybe I could do some yellow on the cat. Maybe the cat's got a nice tint of yellow to him. Wouldn't that be nice? If we gave him a nice kind of yellow kind of glaze to him. And all that yellow is just rough. It's sketched. You see, it's not important, but it's thought process in here. And the thoughts are making your mind stronger each time you're doing it. Each time you're exploring it. And these sketchbooks, you don't need to kind of, you know, I see so many people on the internet saying, oh, here's my sketchbook. Oh, it's so glamorous. Oh, this is a little thing that I did. Yeah. It took you like 20 hours to do. And there's our kind of sketch. And you're starting to think, well, I love that. Could I do it again? Okay, what did I do? And this is where the building blocks of doodling comes. The building blocks of doodling is, okay, it was a circle. And I did a round circle, okay. And I did a little kind of round kind of face like that. Okay. And this is us doodling, okay? We're just playing around here. And I did some big eyes on either side. And I did some big kind of eyebrows, didn't I? I did something like that, didn't I? Okay, and then I did these kind of lines. And this is all your learning. How much learning you've done in minutes of doodling and scribbling. The same way you were like as a child. Okay, so I wanted those kind of cheekbones, didn't I? And I wanted to have this big smile. Okay. Put on our little highlight. What else did we do? We did these big droopy eyes, didn't we? And of course this is a very quick version of it. But we did some shading in there. We did a big eye. It was just half cocked there. We did some shading there. We did some shading there. And you're starting to feel like, my God, I just learned that 5 minutes ago. Now I can copy it. All those building blocks you've just been through. All those processes you've been through just exploring and doodling have now come through to help you. So yes, doodling is massively important. There's the other eye. And we can go in and just copy the shading that's across there. And you can see very, very quickly, you've got the big smile. And we're doing that. So, shading that in again, blah, 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 blah. And there's our big... You see, it's almost the same. And why? It's because we've already done it. Once you've done it one time, you can do it again. And you can do it again. You can do it again. You can say, well, you know, this character here, I really like this character, but, okay, I don't want him to be happy. Okay, I want him to be angry. Okay, well, we've got that. We've done our middle line like we've been doing on our lessons. We've done our nose. And we're going to draw his nose in. Okay, he's got these big eyebrows. We're up like this at the moment, and we're going to bring them down like this. Okay, so let's give him some big angry eyebrows. Keeping those thick big eyebrows, but we're bringing them down and we're making him angry. And this is the point of doodling. We're playing with expressions. We're keeping that big thing there. We're keeping our eye. And we're keeping that same eye. We'll put in our shading. And this is all what we've learned. In minutes we've learned this because we're doodling. So and you can see there by there we're starting to build in learning about expressions. And if you don't know how to do this, then start to do something like this. Doodle with it. That's a happy face. And what would an angry face look like? Well, an angry face would have eyebrows down like that and that like that, and he might have a mouth that's like that, you know. And this is a very good way to learn how to do these different expressions, by doodling. Doodling. How do I draw anything? What kind of shoes should I give this robot? Well, let's give him some little legs, and let's give him some boots. What kind of boots? Well, we want some big kind of square toenail boots like this, okay? And you start practicing your drawing like in boxes, like a box, like this, big square boots as a box. And if you want to put the foot up, you want to put, it's just tilting that box. And this is something that you can go through in your doodling. It's just draw boxes like that. The whole box is tilting over. And that's how you can draw your boot. These big square boots like this. And that's his big boots. And you can go in and do your shading. Scribbling your shading. Don't have to be perfect. Don't have to be... The whole point of doodling is exploring. And the same way that we're doing that, you can do it with any pen. You could do it with your brush pen. Why not? Okay, so we just slide that over. And in the same way, you could draw your cat. Or you could draw anything. But you could use a brush. And you could use a different pen just to explore. Okay, so if we were to draw a nice big eye. Like that. And we could draw a horse, couldn't we? And we're just doodling it. We're just playing around. We're just trying to drawing some kind of funny horse type thing. Let's draw his other eye on there. And we got all his hair. And we got his ears. And that's just doodling. It's not important drawing. It's a fun thing. And then you're starting to think, well, how could I draw that better? Okay, well, that's a nice funny horse. And then you can start to break it down into shapes. You can start to break in a circle for the head. And a smaller circle. And you can start to draw on the lines. You can start to draw whatever type of horse you wanted to draw. And you could draw its ears, and you could take it to a point where it's got a long mane and it's got a horse, all its hair coming through there. And this is just like two different versions of the same doodle. Having fun, exploring. So today is really all about the importance of doodling. The more doodling you do, the more exercise you do. And you know the way exercise works. The more exercise you do, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the more you want to exercise. So in the same way with this, the more you doodle, the stronger you will get. The more you will want to doodle, the more you will fill your sketchbooks, and the better and better you will become. So doodling is hugely important. So be a 4-year-old child again, be a 5-year-old child, a 6-year-old child. Go back to being a child and enjoy doodling. Paint things. paintings and put them in a book. Do little lessons. Learn about your shading. How do I shade this? How would I shade this horse? Well, maybe I would do this, maybe. And that's what it's all about. So, keep that child alive. Okay? Keep it going and doodle and have fun doing it. And I will see you again very, 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 very soon. Thank you for watching. Keep doodling. Oh, and subscribe.